Hi, I'm Tom. This is Lucy, and this is the Kitty Help Desk Halloween special. We wanted to do something a little special for Halloween because for me, cats are an integral part of the holiday. I've been reading online, there are some behaviorists and people who really care a lot about cats who seem to have a problem with the image of cats being used in Halloween decorations, especially if they're sort of scary cats and that sort of thing. I guess I sort of get how that comes from a good place in those people. However, I tend to disagree with it. I'm curious about what you might think because, we all see it differently. Hi, Mina. Mina actually came into my life. I'm trying to get her a treat here. Here you go, baby. Mina came into my life because of Halloween, really. I really, at the time, didn't particularly want to get a cat because I wasn't sure I could afford it. And I knew how attached I would get. And this was 15 years ago. This was a very long time ago. And so when Mina came into my life, I really wanted a black cat. I had read that black cats didn't adopt very easily from rescues, although now that I know a little better, I'm not sure that that's entirely true. Um, I do know that in some cases, some superstitious people have kind of ridiculous notions about bad luck, and they've linked that to black cats, and that's been the case for decades. That goes back hundreds of years, probably. I don't really know. I don't know the origin of that superstition. I do know that cats during the witch scares of the Middle Ages and beyond, I do know that black cats were thought to be familiars to witches and that sort of thing. But we're now above that kind of thinking, aren't we, Mina? And we see them as the wonderful pets that they are. Many litters include at least one black cat. Sometimes they're all black cats, and that can be sort of amazing to see just a litter entirely of black kittens. But in a lot of cases, litters have multiple fathers, and so you'll get a lot of different coloration within a litter because some of the kittens have different fathers than the other kittens. But when you look at a decoration like this and you see this cat, I don't see this as a negative portrayal of a black cat. What do you think, Mina? Mina's fine with it. So I just think that it's a way to get some of us who are into things like Halloween into cats and help us to see a way to introduce them into our lives and to learn more about them, because that was really the way that I learned about cats. I'd like to give you, as part of our special today, some hints about how to deal with your cat over the Halloween holidays. Now, just because we think that there aren't superstitious people that think of cats as bad luck, there probably still are a few out there. And there are especially some mean people that can really have a negative impact on our cats' lives, especially if you allow your cat to go outside. It's one of the reasons why I generally, in populated areas, I don't think it's a good idea to let a cat go outside, but that's up to you. But one of the threats that they face out in the outdoor world is mean people. And we've, over the years, seen a lot of evidence of what people can do to cats out of spite, meanness, just ugliness in their hearts. And so we just have to be very careful and keep them close to home, especially during the Halloween holiday, especially black cats, because they might be seen sort of as objects to some people who are not really sensitive to animals and don't really care about what animals feel or think. They may look at them as objects really in the world that they can just do whatever they want to with them. So we want to be careful and keep them inside. There's also a lot of activity around the holiday where people are coming in, people are having parties, crazy kind of parties with unrecognizable costumes and things that are unusual for cats. So it's really better to keep them in a safe zone during events like that and during trick-or-treating when, the front door is being opened and closed frequently. I don't know about you, but Mina and Lucy are both sort of, they run and hide when the doorbell rings. So Halloween night is not a lot of fun for either one of them. So I make sure that they have everything they need in a bedroom, and I close the door and put on some soft music and kind of make sure that that's kind of the place that they go to generally when they're afraid. So I make sure that that safe zone is available to them and that they can hide out, and I don't try to lure them out of there. It's kind of one of the secrets of having safe zones for cats is that you don't ever try to move them out of there. In fact, you really want to act like they're invisible when they're in those safe zones so that they feel maximum safety and they can recharge their confidence rapidly if they get scared. They can go there and they feel like they really are in this impenetrable fortress of solitude. and so, once in there, they can become super cats again and they can, come back out of their shell kind of more quickly than they would if they were just left in an area where they feel like they're still in danger. Something else I wanted to talk to you about is some people want to dress their cats in Halloween costumes. And I kind of have a rule with my cats, and I try to pass this along to clients when I can, and that is that I really don't want to do anything that involves the cats unless it benefits the cats in some way. If they are hurt by it or annoyed by it, I really don't see the point in doing it. So with costumes, that's really more for us, for humans. We think it's funny or cute, and so we want to put them in a costume, but it doesn't benefit the cat in any way. They really don't want to be in a costume. They'd rather just, be free to run around and make their own choices about what they do. And so for me, a better choice than, if you want to spend money on something that makes you feel like it's Halloween season, and I totally get that. I do the same thing. I try to buy them cat toys. Like, these are just a few examples of some of the Halloween cat toys. We call this one Cat Head, and it looks a lot like you, Mina. Lucy loves Cat Head. This is not the official Cat Head that Lucy loves so much because I can't, I don't want to move that. She moves it around like a kitten. But there are a variety of toys, some that have catnip in them. This one looks like a candy corn. Some people really hate candy corn. I don't eat it because it has honey in it, but a lot of people really like it. And this is one of Mina's favorite toys. She really likes this because she can bat it around and it spins. They're also this is a Halloween Kong kickaroo that has a crunchy sound that they really like. It's kind of shaped like a mouse with a long furry tail. And this kind of thing is a much better purchase around Halloween because everybody gets to enjoy it. You get to enjoy playing with the cats with something new. They get to enjoy a new toy that's stimulating in some way, and it gets them more of your attention. And it doesn't feel constrictive. When you put something around a cat, when you put it around their head or around their body, in a lot of cases, they can feel like they're totally trapped. They really think that someone's holding them. And it is not a good feeling. It's not something that you or I would really want to feel. And it's a kind of a feeling that you have to, if you do harness training with cats, you have to spend quite a bit of time getting them over the feeling that the harness is sort of holding them in place. The first time you put a harness on a cat, if they haven't sort of been trained for it, a lot of times they will just hunker down because they feel like they're being held, secured in place. They feel like they can't move. So with a costume, it really isn't. There's nothing for a cat to enjoy there. I mean, even taking pictures of cats, you have to be sort of careful that you don't impose upon them and you let them say when enough is enough. And Lucy, you may have seen some of the pictures I've taken of Lucy where her ears are back, where she's just eventually he just kind of has enough. So the same thing can be said for Halloween costumes. I just say don't buy them, don't buy that, buy something like this, because this is something that everybody can like and enjoy and play with, right, Mina? The other thing that I will say is that as you bring new things into the house during Halloween, especially things like natural things like pumpkins, cats love to smell pumpkins. And if you have a new pumpkin, there's nothing wrong with letting them satisfy their curiosity. They live in this world of scents. So experiencing that is something that doesn't happen every day. And thank you. And it's something that just enlarges their world a little bit to have something new to experience. And when you're carving the pumpkin, just be careful. Make sure they're not around where they could get hurt. But if they want to smell the seeds and the guts of the pumpkin and everything, by all means, let them. It's not harmful to them. You can let them, play with it a little bit. I wouldn't encourage them to eat any of it or consume it, but to let them experience it is totally acceptable. One last thing I will say is that oftentimes we like the pumpkin spice season, right? That pumpkin spice has become its own thing. In a lot of cases, I've read that pumpkin spice flavors and scents don't really have any pumpkin in them. So it's kind of one of those things that is ubiquitous, but in a lot of cases, cats really dislike it. I'm not sure what it is in that conglomeration of scents that they dislike. It could be the cinnamon. It could be any manner of things, but they tend to sort of dislike it. And so if you're burning pumpkin spice candles, for example, it could be a really annoying thing for a cat. You just want to moderate that sort of thing and be aware of the fact that anytime you bring in a new scent, that it sort of is a big deal to your cats. Any kind of strong scent, especially like some of these Yankee candles that you just open the lid and it's just like, it fills the room with scent. They're scents that we like, so we like that, but it can be really overwhelming and make a cat feel like it's infringing upon their territory. They mark their territory with scents from their scent glands on their faces and their paws and their wrists and their bodies. And if something is overwhelming that scent, it can make them feel like their territory is diminished. So it's just something to be aware of and to do in moderation. I'm not saying you shouldn't indulge in the things that you enjoy. You should. But you should really think about, putting the lid back on it when you're done burning a candle, for example. And you want to make sure that any open flames are kept away from cats, of course. They might be tempted to sort of swat at them because they don't really understand how harmful they could be. So putting them up on a shelf out of reach is always a good idea. I really love Halloween, and I hope you do too. And I hope that these hints have helped you in some way and will help you and your cats to have a happy Halloween this year. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.